Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new video on Dauntless. My name is Ventus, and in this video, I'm going to be going over some of the most effective weapons to use against the Blaze Behemoths in the early game of Dauntless. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, so first things first, as a level 14 Slayer, I'm going to show you my most powerful build. Now, with that being said, just because this is my most powerful build, it doesn't mean it's the most effective against the different behemoths, because every behemoth is different and they have different attack patterns that different weapons just don't work on as well. Let's take a look at it. Alright, so let's just take a look at my character. Right now, the weapon that I'm using is the Honest of Boreas, and it's a +3 weapon. That's because I've upgraded it a lot. Now, what it has on it is some really cool things. The Ardent Cyclone, activate at full meter to start spin, damaging nearby enemies for the duration. Reactivate to slash in a direction, damaging enemies, and it hits really freaking hard. The Adhesive Hilt, become unstaggerable while in special. Alright, so I've got this, the +3 Rage Hunter cell, increases damage against enraged behemoths, which comes in really handy. And then this other cell right here is a +2 tough cell, increases maximum health. Alright, so then on this Fiery Helm, I'm using the +2 conditioning cell, increases stamina regen. On my Volcanic Aegis +5, that's because it's +5 because I've enhanced it a little bit with the drops that I've had. It's got a +2 energized cell, which increases weapon meter gain rate. Volcanic Grips +5, it's got the +1 energized cell, increases weapon meter gain rate. Fiery Greaves +5, +1 fireproof cell, protects against being set on fire, which is really helpful against these fire behemoths. And then on my Skarn's Defiance, my lantern, I've got this lantern actually grants a 250 hit point shield for 6 seconds. Holding it surrounds the Slayer in a swirling stone that deals 900 Terra damage to nearby enemies over 10 seconds. But I never used it, I just used the shield. And the modification on this lantern, it's got a +1 vampiric cell, which restores some health whenever a behemoth part is wounded. Now, I know I'm going a little bit out of sync with the video. I just wanted to go ahead and go into greater detail with some of the stuff that I'm using. On the right side of the screen, as I'm scrolling up, you can see what some of these values are on all the things that I do have equipped, the perk summary. Alright, so just take a closer look at that, and then maybe once you see some of these perks, you can see what they do at higher levels. Now, these perks, these cells, they don't exactly level up over time. I think you actually just have to go and open up the cores and hopefully that you get a +3 cell, a +2 cell, +4 cell. But at later levels, though, I do believe some of these things do extra things. Alright, so that's what I've been using for this class setup, and this is my most powerful build to date. If you know something stronger, definitely let me know. Now, here are the Carfax on this build fighting a Churog. Now, Churog is one of these demons that doesn't have a lot of mobility. It's big, it's slow, but it hits really hard, so you have to be very careful when you are around it. That's why you got to use the fire armor that I've been wearing right now, because it doesn't hit me as hard. I use that lantern. That lantern gives me a little bit of defense. Also, there is one of these cells that you can use when you attack a wounded part. It gives you some healing back. I opted not to go with that this time, just because I know that I'm going to go in and slay this thing out. But for an enemy that may be a little bit stronger than you, you definitely want to go for something that maybe gives you a little bit of healing back to augment your healing cells that you have down there in your consumable items. This is the... Hold on, I want to get the name right. The Ardent Cyclone, and that just really made short work of that Churog. I got an A rank. I think it's because I sort of backed off him for a little bit when he was doing his little spin thing. He's got a spin cycle where he shoots fire off of him, the Churog, and you can hit him, but you're going to take damage if you get hit with the flames that sort of emit off of his body, so you definitely got to dodge around that. Alright, so now I want to show you the Ember Main. Now, this is a lesser Ember Main, and I'm using the Ostian Repeaters. Now, these weapons, these guns, once you get them, I think you get them unlocked at like level 10. You get a quest, and you can go on that quest, and you'll get the weapons or whatever. Not exactly sure how I did it. I don't remember. I was playing this game up until the late hours of the night, and I was just grinding through it. But I got the pistols, and it's pretty self-explanatory when you do get them. Now, these weapons, they do have the ability to change elements. They are a neutral weapon, but you can make it to where they are not a neutral weapon by getting some sort of a modification put on them when you talk to the guy that gives you the pistol quest. But all that's very self-explanatory. But the weapon, when you fight an enemy like the Ember Main, and like I said earlier, this is a lesser Ember Main, so he's not as strong. I'm going to fight the actual Ember Main a little bit later on in the video, but their attack patterns are pretty much the same. I just wanted to show you a comparison. Now, using these pistols are so good and so effective against enemies that move around. In general, the pistols are very good against any enemy. They're going to be really effective against those bigger enemies like the Turok, because with the pistols, if you reload them in close proximity to the monster or the behemoth, they get a sort of special power-up charge, and then you can in turn use the actual hold R2 and square, it's what it is for PS4, the charge shot against it and do, extra special damage. But when you're fighting an enemy like the Ember Main and you're trying to use like a really close range melee weapon like a hammer or a sword, unless they're staying still like they are right now, like it was right then for that little bit of a moment, you're not going to be able to do that much damage to it, because it's just moving around, you know what I mean? Right now, they're kind of mollywopping because he's kind of stuck. He's held in place. But once you fight the actual Ember Main, he doesn't have that many periods of when he's, like, down, when he's, low or whatever like that. So I definitely suggest using those pistols. The pistols are a fantastic weapon, not against just the Ember Main. They're a fantastic weapon against any enemy in the game. All right, here we go against the Turok. Again, I'm going to using the hammer. The hammer is a really good weapon. Honestly, any melee weapon that you want to use against the Turok is great because it just really reacts well to just melee damage. I've used all the weapons so far against the Turok, and I think that the most effective is probably going to be either the sword or the hammer. The hammer hits so hard against this Turok. Don't get me wrong, the axe can do the same thing as well. The axe is very, very powerful. It has that little thrown attack that kind of comes and goes, and you can sort of slam down on it. But in terms of what is probably the most powerful, in my opinion, I would definitely have to say this hammer does the job. The sword does the job as well. Alright, so a little bit ago, I told you I was going to use the pistols against the actual Ember Main and not the lesser Ember Main. You can see the difference between the two. This Ember Main is like a lot bigger, and it is violently aggressive and moves around so much. Trying to hit this thing with some sort of melee weapon is going to be difficult at best. That's why going against this Ember Main that moves around so much, pistols. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me anymore to use anything against this except pistols. When I first started playing the game and I first met this monster, I was like, yeah, I'm going to use my ice sword against this thing and destroy it, but I found it very difficult to hit it. This game, honestly, I thought it was going to be one of these things where you can pick one type of weapon and you could use that type of weapon. When I saw the pistols, I was like, this is sort of like a fantasy game. I don't think that pistols belong in a fantasy game, but they work. They work. For whatever universe this game is, these pistols work and they do really good. I got an S+ rank using these pistols on the Ember Main. So definitely when you go against Ember Main, you want to use the pistols, all right? But that's not all that you can use against the Ember Main. That's just the most effective, in my opinion, against the Ember Main. Another weapon that you can use are the little axes. I still can't tell you what these things are called. I got the Destiny of Boris, I guess, the ice pickaxes. They're good too. They're good because they're triangle. When you hold the triangle, they do that little spinny move, right? And they attack like a wide area. This is an actual Ember Main, not the lesser Ember Main. I wanted to go ahead and show you the Ember Main. They have that move that you just saw me do that sort of take you out of harm's way. So you can attack. You can press R1 to get in when you have charge, do your attacks, and then press R1 if you're using PlayStation. I'm not exactly sure what it is on Xbox or PC. But you get in, you get out, you do your damage. And when it's doing all that running around, you have that triangle attack, that heavy attack that sort of attacks a wide area, so you're going to be able to hit it. If you are going to use a melee weapon, this is the only one that makes sense to me, honestly. at level 14. Now, there might be some things that I don't know about later on in the future, and if there are some things like that you know about right now that are going to help the viewers that are, you know, kind of wanting to learn how to play the game, I would definitely ask you in like the kindest way possible to definitely drop that knowledge down in the comment section below, because we're all trying to play the game, we're all trying to play the game better and help each other to play the game. Because, you know, do you want to get into a game and you have a group of randoms that really have no idea what they're doing? That's not fun. I mean, sometimes it's fun to be like the best on the team, but for the most part, let's try to help each other play the game better and as the game progresses. Ember Main slain using the pistols. I don't think I did, yeah, not pistols, but the pickaxes. I don't think I actually did the best on this. Yeah, I got a B rank. B rank versus S plus pistols. Yeah. Alright, so that's going to be it for the video. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and once again, I would appreciate any knowledge you can drop for me and the viewers in the comments. Thanks guys, peace out.